On today's episode, we are going to take a look at one of my favorite stocks out right now, and that is NVIDIA, ticker NVDA. This one is easily on my top 10 list right now. And on today's episode, I want to take a look at the information provided in the earnings, and I just want to take a closer look at NVIDIA to see if I'm still willing to purchase at these times. So today's episode is going to be broken down to the following. First, I'm going to start off just taking a look at price performance, the quick look at the company's valuation, and a quick overview of their earnings. After that, I want to take a look at their future expectation growth and their past growth. I want to see how has NVIDIA grown in the past years, and is it expected to grow in the upcoming years, right? I'm not here to invest in companies that are not expected to grow. Following that, we're going to take some highlights of their earnings, taking a look at their financial documents, and pretty much at the end, I'm just going to end up giving my thoughts of the company. And like always, if you are new to my channel, if you are a long-term investor, and if you want to learn about growth stocks, make sure to hit that subscribe button. To all my returning viewers, thank you for all the support. And like always, if you want to get in contact with me, YouTube comments, Twitter, my Discord channel, my newsletter, all of that information is free for anybody that wants to join. But remember, all of this is just my opinions. I am by no means a professional, so none of this should be taken as advice. Besides that, let's get started. All right, and shout out to all the new members that have joined the membership program that are supporting the channel. Like I said, all the information here is free, but if you want to support the channel, make sure to hit that join button. Thank you guys for all the support. I truly appreciate it. Let's take a look at NVIDIA right now. So right now it's sitting at $485 at the end of the day. After hours, it's actually up a bit. It's up to $487. In the past year, this company has returned amazing results to investors, about 183% in the past year. Year to date, it has given investors about 100%, almost doubling your money in less than a year. That to me is ridiculous. Right now, the market cap of NVIDIA is sitting at about $300 billion. And to me, right, saying $1 trillion market cap is insane. It's ridiculous. But I'm not saying it would happen anytime soon. But for me, a company that I can see in the future hitting a $1 trillion market cap would be NVIDIA, with everything they have in line. And that's something we're going to take a look at. So for me, NVIDIA is still easily a 3-bagger in the long term of things. Remember, I'm more of a long-term investor, so I care about the long-term growth. The volatility that happens in between is just noise for me. I'm looking 5-10 years in advance. All right, so let's take a quick look at the overview of their earnings. So they reported earnings August 19th, 2020. Quarter two non-GAAP earnings per share were $2.18, and this actually beat expectations by 21 cents. GAAP earnings per share were 99 cents, and it missed by 2 cents. The first thing I can see is this company is profitable in both non-GAAP and GAAP earnings per share, and that to me is really good news, right? I obviously knew that they are profitable. I just want to share that to you guys. Their revenue for this quarter was $3.87 billion. And listen to this. It's up 50% year compared to the same time last year. And it beat expectations by $210 million. That's almost a beat of over 5%. And that, again, shows the strength of this company. All right, now that we took a quick look at their overview, let's take a look at the future growth for this company. So the first thing we mentioned, right, is NVIDIA is profitable and is expected to be profitable for the upcoming years. All right, so next, let's take a look at that revenue growth. NVIDIA, on average, is expected to grow 14.8% annually for the next 3 years, right? This doesn't mean every year from now it's going to grow 14.8. This year it can grow about 20%. The next year it can grow like 15%. And the year after that it can grow like 9%. On average, it will give you somewhere around 14.8% for the next 3 years. And that's faster than the industry, and that's faster than the market. And that's impressive, right? That's what you want to see. You want to invest. I invest in a company that is expected to beat the market and the industry. Why would I want to invest in a company that is slower than the market? Might as well just invest in the market at that moment. Why would I invest in a company that's slower in the industry? It means it's not the leader in its industry, so it's not a company for me. Unfortunately, right, if you guys have been following my channel, normally I take a look at high growth stocks, ones that are growing over 20% annually, but I do believe NVIDIA is in markets that, and we're going to talk about that in a bit, are in markets that I'm very, very bullish on. The gaming, the data center are two of the markets that I believe are a huge potential in the upcoming years. Unfortunately, earnings for this company is going to be growing slower than the industry and slower than the market. That's a negative, right? It's growing 17.1% annually on average for the next 3 years, where the industry is expected to grow 24.3% and the market is expected to grow 24%. But we can see right now this company is profitable, and for those that like a nice growth dividend, NVIDIA does pay a bit of dividend, and I think we're going to see that in a bit. One thing before we take a look at their past growth, I was looking at who their top shareholders were. And for a company that has a market value of over 250 billion, right? What do we say its market cap was? It was closer to $300 billion. For me to see their CEO being being one of the top 10 shareholders, it's pretty impressive right there. The CEO of the founder, who is also the CEO of the company, who's also a co-founder, owns 3.5% of the company. And you might be like, Jose, that's such a little bit. There's not many companies out there right now where the CEO, especially one that has such a high market cap like this, owns such a high value. The only ones I can think of are probably Amazon, Tesla, of course. I think Musk owns like 16% of equity as top shareholders, and some of the big ones like that, but there's not many that you can find. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Next, I want to take a look at their past growth, see how NVIDIA has done. So let's take a look at the past quarter. So this quarter's revenue grew 49.9% compared to the same time last year. That to me is insane. The quarter before that, quarter one of 2020 grew for about 39%, and quarter four of 2019 grew about 40% as well. So in the past three quarters, this company has grown about close to over 40% each quarter, and that to me is pretty impressive. But one thing I want you guys to see is last year, there was a lot of negative revenue growth for this quarter. So when you have lost in revenue, obviously the next year when you're selling more stuff, it's gonna show a higher percentage weight, right? So I just want people to understand that, right? So this is one thing I feel like many bears might be talking about, how that revenue growth is more inflated because the previous quarters that these are compared to were bad for the company. So obviously those numbers are going to look inflated. And I kind of agree with that. It's just something to keep in mind of, but the company is still growing at crazy levels. And at the end of the day, that to me is a bullish sentiment. Next, I want to take a look at their annual gross margins and annual profit margins. So we can see this company has been profitable and has increased its profits over time. For the 2019, it had profit margins of about 25%, and that's actually pretty impressive. It keeps about a quarter of its money. No wonder this company is able to be able to pay dividends right now. It has very strong gross margins as well, 62%. All right, so now let's take a look at some of the highlights for this company. And I probably should have done this earlier in the episode, but let me talk about NVIDIA as a whole. Like, what do they do? The main thing that NVIDIA does is they create GPUs, graphics cards for a computer. Graphics card, one of the uses that many people think it's only used for is to play video games. But graphics cards are pretty much the full brain when it comes to artificial intelligence and machine learning. What those things are pretty much, they're just mathematical algorithms that happen. And GPUs, the things that NVIDIA makes, are the things that are able to compute high mathematical problems at a super fast rate. When we take a look at data centers, right? Data centers need to process information pretty quickly. It needs to run algorithms to make sure that everything is running fine. Again, you need both CPUs and GPUs. And this is one thing I love listening about other earnings. I took a listen at AMD's earnings, and that's one of my favorite companies as well. AMD reported that during their data center growth, they saw a huge demand growth in their CPU markets for data centers. But they did not see a huge growth in their GPU markets in data center. And that to me, again, if you guys, the great thing about these YouTube videos and these podcasts, you guys can go back and listen to them and see that I'm not just spewing stuff out of the back of myself, right? I mentioned there that, hey, how are they showing strong growth in CPUs but not strong growth in GPUs in data centers? And that to me only told me one thing, that NVIDIA was still holding the crown there. And we can see that is definitely the case. And data center made up such a huge portion of this company's revenue. So first, like I mentioned, gaming, right? Gaming made up $1.6 billion of that, what was it, about 3.9. So gaming made up 1.65 billion of that. Data center made $1.75 billion of that 3.9. So those two sectors right there are pretty much most of NVIDIA's revenue, and two sectors that I am completely bullish on. And another thing I want to mention, this is the first quarter that NVIDIA's data center has been higher than their gaming. Back then, NVIDIA was known as the gaming company. Now looking at this, NVIDIA is, yes, a gaming company, but is now a data center company. And the great thing about NVIDIA is they just recently did an acquisition. On quarter one, they ended up purchasing a company called Mellanox. And this is a company that deals with artificial intelligence and data centers as well. So they were buying a company to increase their overall exposure to that market. That is an acquisition that makes sense. If there's an acquisition, when an acquisition happens, I look at it and want to make sure that, yes, I understand why the company is buying this company is to strengthen itself. And thanks to Mellanox, the revenue for data centers grew 167% compared to same time last year, and they grew 54% compared to a quarter ago. That to me tells me enough, and to me, I'm honestly surprised that this stock did not shoot up after earnings. After these amazing results, I would have expected this company to go up. Next, let's take a look at their other segments. They have two more segments. The next is professional visualization. And for those that don't know professional visualizations, again, it deals with graphics cards. And let's say you're an engineer, or let's say you're an architect, and you use programs like AutoCAD and Autodesk and all of these types of CAD softwares. You usually it's better it's better processing if you're like a video editor, it's better if you have a graphics card that is meant to handle that type of workload. So that's that professional visualization. And then we have the auto industry. Thanks to their artificial intelligence, thanks to their machine learning, they are getting in that auto land. Unfortunately, that's only $111 million of the company's total revenue. So what's that, like 2-3% of the company's revenue comes from auto, and auto is down. It's down 28. It's actually down 50% compared to the same time last year, and visualization is down 30% compared to the same time last year. Right? They are down, but remember, they are such a small section of this company's revenue. And NVIDIA did give us guidance for quarter three. They say expected revenue of $4.4 billion for quarter three. Analysts were expecting a revenue for quarter three of about $4 billion. So this is beating analyst expectations. And again, another reason that I was surprised that this company did not jump up. This to me tells me that people were already over expecting a huge beat by NVIDIA. And unfortunately, if NVIDIA did not produce the numbers it did right now, it would have had a big drop, because it seems like investors were already pretty much investing for the perfect scenario, and that's what they got. They also announced something pretty cool in their automotive world. Even though it makes up such a small section, I feel like this is a market that's going to grow from here on as well. And that's why I'm very bullish in the company Ceron, CRNC. I've done plenty of videos if you guys want to check it out. But NVIDIA announced partnerships with Mercedes-Benz that every vehicle in its lineup starting in 2024 will have the architecture software that NVIDIA builds for its Drive AV autonomous driving software. And that to me is pretty impressive, right? Getting into a company getting into this type of partnership with Mercedes-Benz, a luxury car for every vehicle in its lineup I feel it's gonna be such an amazing growth for the automotive section for NVIDIA. You know, thinking about it in the future, if Cerence continues to get bigger, Cerence, I can actually picture NVIDIA purchasing them, and I would be okay with that acquisition as well if they want to increase their automotive artificial intelligence market. All right, so the final thing I pretty much wanted to take a look at was this company's balance sheet. And NVIDIA right now has about $7.7 billion in current investments. And it has about $3.2 billion in cash. So pretty much about, I want to say, close to $11 billion in quick cash. And this company has no current debt, and its non-current debt is $7.5 billion. So this is what I consider a great balance sheet. It has enough cash to pretty much pay off its total non-current debt and still have cash left over. It'll have about $3 billion left over in cash. All right, so now my thoughts about the company. First, what do we see? We see a company that, what we just looked at, that has a strong balance sheet. It has plenty of cash to pay off its total debt and still have cash left over. It is a company that's profitable and is paying dividends, so it's looking like it doesn't have to worry about its debt at all. It has money coming in. It is in markets that I believe are completely bullish. The gaming market, it's still growing strong and is continuing to grow strong thanks to this pandemic. And even let's say everything goes back to normal tomorrow, the upcoming seasons are the holiday seasons, and that's normally the seasons where a lot of people go buy computers, buy laptops, and buy everything that NVIDIA is in. The data center, right? This is another item, especially with everything going cloud. There needs to have strong processing speed for everything there, and the NVIDIA's GPUs help those servers maintain the speed they need. They are in the artificial intelligence world, and that again, we see it through their automotive world, and just in general, I think NVIDIA has placed itself in markets that are going to continue to grow. And we're gonna see a lot more of NVIDIA in the future. And they have some cash, so I can't see them doing another acquisition. I think Mellanox was close to a $7 billion acquisition that they did full cash. But if something comes out cheap, I can see NVIDIA purchasing something else. Again, when a company does an acquisition, I'd love to see it that it's an acquisition that will make their current products stronger than they were before. And we saw that with that data center, how it grew almost over 100% compared to the same time last year. And next, right, with the market cap of $300 billion, in my opinion, I can see NVIDIA in the next 5-10 years reaching $1 trillion based on the markets that it's in and based on the way the world is moving. So to me, NVIDIA is one I will continue to buy. But again, the way I buy is more through dollar cost average, right? I don't right now. I personally, if I was opening a position, I would not go all in NVIDIA, right? The market is very volatile. And even though this might not be this, who knows? This might be the bottom. It could be in the next few years. I highly doubt that. The market is very volatile. So for me, I dollar cost average, and NVIDIA is one that I'm going to continue dollar cost averaging as the weeks progress and continue to build up my position on this company. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Like always, make sure to hit the thumbs up. Like always, make sure to let me know in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Take care and have a good night.